Hi guys, in this episode I'm going to share my zero-based monthly budget. So yeah, let's get started. Alright guys, so it's great if you have a monthly budget so that you can see whether you are making enough money to cover your expense. It is also great to have a budget so that you can live within your means. Also, after looking at your budget, it will be easier for you to make life choices, such that whether you need to get a new job with a better pay, or whether you could afford to have a car or to buy a new car, or whether you can afford to buy a house, or whether you can afford to rent your current place, or whether you need to move, etc. So here's how I organize my monthly budget. You just need to get a piece of paper and pen, and you just need to draw two columns. One for your income on this side, and for this side is going to be the expense that you would have to pay each month. So on the income side, you can put your salary, or if you have any side income, and if there are two of you, then you can list the salary of your partner, and then you just need to add them up. And for the expense side, I would propose that you group all your expenditure together. Like the first one would be for housing. So you would have to list down all the bills that has to do with your housing. For example, you need to list down your monthly installment, or if you are renting, then you need to put your rent here. And then you need to list down bills such as electricity and water, or perhaps also cooking gas, and also the other fees like your HOA or JMB over here, or your city hall tax, or your land tax, etc. And the whole amount should be about 30% of your budget. And for the second item, it will be your transportation. So you need to list down your car installment, how much is it? Or if you are taking a train, then how much would your monthly passes will be? And for car, you also need to put your petrol, car insurance, and everything that has to do with your car or your transportation. And I'm not too sure about this, but I think it should be about 20 to 30% of your monthly budget. And these two areas are normally the one that people got it wrong. Usually they would stay in a house that they couldn't afford. It could be taking more than 30% of their budget. And also for their cars, normally people tend to buy a car that they couldn't afford. So these would be the two areas that you need to look at. The next thing would be food, so you need to list down your budget for your food. I find it easier if I just break it down for lunch and dinner, and then that way I could calculate the whole amount that I need for the whole month. And then there will be other bills such as your phone bills or your personal insurance. And then there will be a section for that where you can put things like your credit card debt and your personal loan. And next, it should be your saving, and this should be about 10% of your monthly budget. And lastly, you could put everything else that doesn't go into any of the grouping into this section. So for example, if you have 2,000 salary and you have no side income, then your total income over here would be 2,000, and you need to get your expense at 2,000 here as well. So for housing, the total here should be 400 ringgit. Sorry, for the housing, the total should be 600 ringgit, which is 30% of 2,000. And for your transportation, it should be about 400 ringgit. So that's already 1,000. So let's say if you have 600 ringgit here for food, and then for your saving, it should be 200 ringgit. So that's already 800 ringgit. So the rest should be about 200 ringgit. So let's say this is 100 ringgit. So this is 50 ringgit, and this is gonna 50 ringgit. So then you would come up with a total expense of 2,000 ringgit. But of course, it's up to you to play with the figure. Anyway, I've managed to put my budget in this nice pie chart. So for example, for me, for housing, it is about 24%. For transport, it's just 8.2%. For bills, it's 12%. For that, serving is at 24% and 2.4% for miscellaneous and about 29% for food. And I don't have any saving at the moment because I'm trying to pay up my credit card debt. And once I'm done with that in another about 10 months, I'm going to be able to save about 20% because then I'll just need to allocate about 5% to serve my debt. So actually I'm not driving, so that's why I can reduce the allocation of my transport to just 8.2%. And if you want to reduce your budget further, you can look at each section. You could perhaps get a housemate or a roommate if you want to reduce your housing expenditure, or perhaps you can just eat in and never eat out if you want to reduce your food expense. Alright guys, so hopefully that's helpful to you, and that's all for this episode of my vlog. Don't forget to like, to comment and to subscribe, and I'll see you guys in my next video.